Staunch Moderates had a big idea. If you know him like I know him, it's crystal clear. Talk about Trump, the racial divide, Democrats and Republicans side by side. Get a grassroots effort and find middle ground. Uplift America, not putting it down.
Staunch moderates philosophy, addressing issues for you and me. Heading down that center aisle, not left, not right. Oh, it makes me smile. World peace, we're all in. Humanity shall win, win, win.
The good of our country, that's the goal. Instead of politicians spinning out of control, we're the Staunch Moderates trying to find the key and help uplift our country, address socialism, capitalism, and the like, and show you that it's not all black and white. We got bold President Cole, he's on, we have a ball, using analogies like football.
Staunch moderates philosophy, addressing issues for you and me. World peace, we're all in. Humanity shall win, win, win.
The Staunch Moderates will put your court in order, facts and figures blowing you out the water. Check out our show, baby, this is it, and you too will become Staunch Moderates.
Staunch Moderates is a grassroots intellectual movement about addressing the divide and to strive for both national and world peace. Big initiator of this divide was an extreme liberal opposition to Donald Trump's 2016 election, his populist movement and boisterous campaign to clean up the DC swamp, all communicated with pretty insightful language. His base loves him as much as his opponents hate him, right through the impeachment hearings and this 2020 election.
I got sick and tired of people attacking each other all the time. That's why I felt I had to start Staunch Moderates.
On December 4th, 2019, Staunch Moderates was born as an intellectual movement, coalition, philosophy, or political party if you wish. I called my IP attorney and filed for the Staunch Moderates as a collective membership trademark. And then we got to work. It's February 8th, and it's a big day for us Staunch Moderates. We made our website go live today. An analogy to all this is it's like placing a football on a tee and it's time for kickoff for the football game. And here we go.
Had a big idea. If you know him like I know him, it's crystal clear. Talk about Trump, the racial divide, Democrats and Republicans side by side. Get a grassroots effort and find middle ground. Uplift America, not putting it down. The Staunch Moderates will put your court in order. Facts and figures blowing you out the water. Check out our show, baby, this is it, and you too will become Staunch Moderates.
World peace, we're all in. America shall win, win, win. Humanity shall win, win, win.
PEACE. And but that's asking a lot. That's stretching it a bit. But, you know, I always have gone as high as I can go. And I always try to reach the highest, higher, 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 higher. And it could happen. So I'm on board for peace, peace, peace. And let's hope that Greg is the start of it. And that it proceeds from there on. But that's the most important thing, is to talk and negotiate. Negotiations.
Staunch Moderates was founded by a moderate conservative and two moderate liberals. We are the Three Amigas.
I've known Bo Persico for about a quarter of a century here in the Valley. He's a college professor that specializes in philosophy, politics, sociology, psychology. I pitched my initiative of addressing the divide and striving for peace. And Bo said, "Oh, that is in a whole nother realm, Greg. I like what you're doing and I'd like to be involved." And so we've been working together on it ever since.
It was a revelation that there was something we could do to encourage dialogue, to get people talking about common priorities and working toward common goals. And that's what drew me into his effort.
Him being a moderate liberal, me, a moderate conservative. Why are we partners? There's the balance of the divide.
I thought this was an ideal opportunity to have two people who come from somewhat different orientation, but really have already some common concerns, to be able to talk about how we can be pragmatic centrists. We need several voices, and mine is maybe from the college community, the fact that we're looking at issues from different perspectives and trying to help people talk about these perspectives. And I do that all the time when I teach courses, so hopefully I can contribute to getting people to look at common goals, to find their way.
It's a natural coming together, you know. Bo and I are very fond of one another. It's very similar to Ruth Bader Ginsburg and Antonin Scalia. You know, they were on opposite sides of the pole on the Supreme Court, but yet they were best of friends. And gosh, Bo and I are kind of like that, and that's what we should all be doing to address the divide.
In the era that we live in, society is so divisive. We don't agree on much, but the one thing we all seem to agree on is that our country, if not the world, is all very much at odds, even fearfully so. It seems more so now than any other time during our lifetimes. We, the Staunch Moderates, are a movement about bringing people back together again. We need to do what we need to do to unite. We don't need such angry and divided behavior. We need to ask ourselves, how do we each act out, and is it truly necessary for our own or the greater good? What can we come together on regarding common goals to get broad support? We need to find commonality so we can move forward and achieve our vital societal goals. If nothing else, this seems like a conversation worth having. Our stance is staunchly in the middle. The word staunch means loyal and committed in attitude. So this movement is about having a loyal and committed attitude that brings us all together towards a common middle ground, similar in concept as to our Declaration of Independence and Constitution from our beginning.
The intention of our Constitution is to get us to come from different places, as we inevitably will, but to find some way to make agreements, to move forward, to compromise even at times, so that we can get something accomplished, rather than hold to our extreme positions and never get anything done.
We are to evaluate, negotiate, compromise, and decide into the most moderate and fair conclusion administration humanly possible. This is who we Americans are. Moderates are arguably the biggest body of voters, but have never really been successfully organized as such. Another recent and historic happening that I think we can all agree upon is that both the Republican and Democratic political parties have gone through so much change in the last 4 years. Arguably, these changes have caused significant damage, if not destruction, to the parties as we knew them. This moment is a perfect opportunity to launch Staunch Moderates, a movement attempting to bring us all back together from such a divisive and scary time. Membership to become a Staunch Moderate does not exclude other affiliations.
The way it works to be a staunch moderate and to still be a Democrat or Republican, or to have some other ideological position, is that the ideas that we're exchanging may come from different starting places, but that we're trying to end up solving problems together, utilizing the insights that people have that are quite different.
So we got our platform written, and once we got it written, the next thing to do was to take it around town and pitch it and see who we could get to sign up as members, and that's what I did. I go up on the mountain to go skiing. My favorite place to pitch the movement was the Aspen Gondola on Aspen Mountain. Nobody likes talking politics because they don't want to be bothered and they don't want their day ruined. Well, everybody had time to talk about the divide. Evidently, it's not only me that's sick and tired of everybody attacking each other all the time. I pitched this to 750 or so different constituents in the Aspen community and had this conversation. Got a 15% sign-up rate. That's a 15% sign-up rate. It's pretty good.
These days more than ever, it's important that we try to meet in the middle. You know, we need solutions for everybody. And extremists, whether you're talking about the left, the right, conservative, liberal, Democrat, Republican, whatever the names are for it, we need to meet in the middle. Staunch moderation here in Aspen, I think, is ruling the day. You know, I think Greg's doing a great job at progressing the staunch moderate. I fit into that category as well. I'm a staunch moderate.
It's a divisive time in our country that we need a new solution. And that solution needs to be more moderate and more in the middle. Both parties have gotten way out on the extreme, either left or right. And I think that what Greg's trying to do here is, there's real merit to it. I'd like to be part of that, yes. It was not surprising when Greg told me he was going to get into politics by starting a movement. Greg's crazy as hell, that's for sure.
Well, I'm saddened by the polarization between the right and left of our society. Any group that supports bringing open dialogue between the polarization and the divisiveness, I support wholeheartedly. Once Greg puts his mind to something and gets a passion behind it, there's no stopping him. And I support him, so I wanted to join his cause. And I believe in any organization that wants to open up dialogue between the right and left.
The idea of staunch moderates comes up when I think about a national or even regional elections and issues where it is so divisive and so divided, where you have such polarity that it's really hard to have a conversation with people. To be able to reconnect with our friends who may not think the way we do is such an appealing, intriguing thing to try. So I would love to see that happen. Staunch means you're stuck. You are anchored in your beliefs. To be staunch about something, to be anchored in your belief about being moderate politically is actually very intriguing. I think what it would mean is you're going to strive for consensus, perhaps, and that implies you're actually going to be somewhat flexible, and I look forward to seeing it work.
I met Greg Simmons at an Oscar party that we produced.
He was our publicist for Aspen, the series, a scripted comedy television show I tried to put together. I remember he had a political background, and I hit him up with Staunch Moderates.
When he contacted me to say that he is starting a political movement, and I'm going, what? You know?
I know you're rolling your eyes and thinking I'm just crazy, but you knew you were getting on the phone with crazy.
Yeah, no, I know that. Greg called me to explain what he was doing.
Trump shook up Washington big time, you know, it demolished the political parties as we knew them. And that's what creates a phenomenal opportunity for us to launch our party, which we're doing in 2020. We like saying Staunch Moderates 2020. We're not trying to put anybody into office, but we are all about creating a worldwide consciousness to address the divisiveness in society today and to strive for world peace.
Talking about it, I'm saying that's exactly what I want to do. And I want to be part of that.
I'm fired up. We're going to be working together, man. We're moving mountains, man.
I know, it's going to be great. So right up until the FBI show up at our doors.
Being a former White House press staffer for George H.W. Bush, which was a Republican, not a Trump Republican, a Bush Republican, and that was a whole different world. It was the old world, not like that is today. So what we have now in both political parties are extremists, left-wing extremists for the Democrats, which is no longer the Democratic Party that we knew. Johnson's The Great Society and the Kennedy's Camelot, that's a joke. That's been long gone. And then we have a Republican Party that's, also been hijacked by extremists. I didn't want anything to do with any of them. I was just disgusted with it. George H.W. Bush had one term, so we all got shown the door, and so I went back to my public relations company, and then I got a job for the Clintons, which was surprising. So I became press secretary to the United States representative to the United Nations, appointed by Clinton, Why he wanted somebody that was in the George H.W. Bush administration that was the enemy, I'll never know. He tells me he just liked what I did, and he just liked me. My official role in Staunch Moderates is I'm the press secretary, as though it was a political party, but it's not. I'm still in charge of the message to the press and to the media.
Someone said, if you're going to start a movement, well then, you have to have a manifesto, so we wrote one. We opened with, as Staunch Moderates, we're sharing our vision for the future and inviting you to join us in identifying common goals. Maintaining our party affiliations, we find common middle ground on many issues. We offer forums in which we can escape extreme partisanship to work together on what we agree needs to be done for the well-being of society and the world. We then set out to defend our number one criticism that moderates are wishy-washy, middle of the road, stand for nothing. There's so many critics out there, and they never seem to be at a loss for words when it comes to their opinions on what a political moderate is, or any ideology different from their own. I cover these relentless critics in some detail during our movement, which we'll touch upon later. The manifesto continues with the concept of polarization and divisiveness, using two examples. Number one, climate change and its activists versus deniers. Two, immigration and open borders versus the border wall. We discuss how parties sometimes take their positions on whatever polarized issues there might be for political gain. Moving on from the concept of divisiveness, we cover corruption, then the current Trump administration, and finally, a discussion on socialism versus capitalism, with all of this written in such a way, striving to give unbiased perspective, both sides of the story. As covered earlier, our movement was founded by three of us, and we like to call ourselves the Three Amigos. We collaborated on all elements. When it came around to our manifesto, one of us wouldn't sign off on it because of exposure, damage control, etc., etc. This created infighting, which is common occurrence in movements, so we hear. Because of this infighting over the manifesto, we came to a conclusion to table it and not publish. This later gave us the idea of publishing an annual manifesto of sorts and calling it our Dynamic Manifesto, yet to come to fruition. The infighting on this and other power struggles ultimately resulted in one of us Three Amigos to drop out of our movement. He asked to have his name taken off all aspects of our movement, so we acquiesced. This falling out was a tough blow, as this partner was one of my best college friends. Anyways, our manifesto was a great exercise to solidify the foundation of our movement, and coincidentally, from this manifesto and a few other works, we were able to develop our movement's philosophy, which I'll cover next. Staunch Moderates is a common sense philosophy or perspective for us to set our differences aside and find common middle ground. It's to evaluate, negotiate, compromise, and decide about the most equitable solutions humanly possible. We understand that hardly anything in life is black and white, but many shades of gray. There are almost always valid points to both sides of an argument. This is applicable interpersonally, with family, friends, community, regionally, nationally, and internationally so. Our philosophy is to address each other and strangers with thoughtful moderation rather than self-centered extremism that dominates political discourse and significantly human behavior. We should ask ourselves how we act out and if it's truly necessary for our own or the greater good. What can we do to not act out? We pride ourselves not only on our domestic membership, but also international. We staunch moderates are all about addressing the divisiveness in society and striving for both national and world peace. Peace.
'Cause 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 'cause
a half ago through a friend of mine, and he works with Jordan Yosby, the entertainment attorney. So we got put together through him, and the rest is history. We've been working since. I'm a millennial, so with that being said, there's not a lot of political talk other than either a far right or far left. So to be able to be young and kind of not have a specific side to be on, but kind of take both, I feel like the next generation is starting to believe in something like that. So that's what got me in it. That's the thing about Staunch Moderates. You know, it's all about having a moderate perspective. It's all about looking at both sides before drawing a conclusion. It's always about me listening to Greg and Greg listening to me, and it works great because being a moderate, it's all about listening and understanding.
Right from the beginning, the first thing we did was build a website, and once we had a website and went live with it, something that you need to do is work with an SEO, search engine optimization organization, to market you on the internet, to get you out there.
Had me go through the process, asking me a bunch of questions, and it solidified to me. First time, we'd never really done a mission statement, and it's like going, oh, here's the mission statement. All the questions that Network Solution was asking me, and they said, what services are we providing?
The number one aspect of it is, I keep saying again and again, and you're going to keep hearing again and again from me, is to address the divisiveness in society and strive for world peace. That's one. Number two, we provide vital societal issue forums. Number three, we provide an alternative choice for a political party. Four is we provide an unbiased news service that someday we see as a major news brand, Staunch Moderates. Five, we're a polling service. The most important part of the mission statement to me is number one, addressing the divide and fighting for world peace.
That's what moderation is about. It's that merging. It's that collaboration. That's what moderation is. Okay, it's not sitting on a fence post, being undecided, not having a backbone. It's not that. It's about this convergence of philosophy and thinking and taking the right course of action. It's not about not taking no action. We're taking action right here as moderates, having this conversation for you. Let me tell you the story about our Bigfoot mascot named Staunch. We didn't make him up, he kind of just happened to us. It started as I was returning to Aspen from San Francisco in early February from watching my San Francisco 49ers lose to the Kansas City Chiefs 20-31 with my family for Super Bowl weekend. There was a blizzard in the Rockies, so I had to fly to Denver, rent a car, and drive up. Coincidentally, that was the same day of our first and only Staunch Moderates public meeting. Funny enough, this was a mock public meeting for us, not even under our Staunch Moderates brand, but as a Socrates Cafe hosted by my college professor partner, Bo Persico, at the CMC Glenwood Springs campus. What would the world look like in 10 years if the future worked out the way that you see fit? Kind of cool, actually, because we got to fly under the radar and rehearse for our big Aspen public meeting to take place in March. Anyways, I stopped for lunch at the Gas House restaurant in Edwards. Awesome restaurant, by the way. Colorado Rocky Mountain log cabin style, full of taxidermy on the walls, vast menu including wild game, all cooked by an excellent chef. One of the species of animals on the wall were these Sasquatches, believe it or not. Some even with horns. Very cool looking, I said to the waiter. He said, we sell them for $250 a piece. I just had a pet die and felt I could use one of these characters up on my wall, so I said I'll take one. One without the horns, please. When I got home, I found a couple places for her on my vertical log in my dining room, one at 7 feet and one at 8. 8 feet's supposed to be their real height, you know? And when it's way up there, it's quite intimidating. Guests even say so. Good to know. A month later, it was Super Tuesday, and out of the blue, Bill Dawes was in town. My favorite comedian and actor I've worked with in my former show business career. I said the same to him that I said to many. I've set up this studio in my office to video blog our movement, and kind of got this Wayne's World meets Howard Stern political talk show going.
Hey,
Hi,
you doing? I just came in from Hollywood. I brought a friend along.
Who's this dude, man? This looks like a Sasquatch or something.
He is the patron saint of Staunch Moderates.
Of course, Bill used him as a prop where he made it onto the set and soon thereafter took on the name Staunch, representing our talk show with the same name. He became a permanent set piece over my right shoulder. In the fall of 2020, we tested marching him around up on Independence Pass, the Continental Divide, and in Twin Lakes, Colorado. We then built a full costume for him with designer to the stars Kylie Fox and Quantum Creation Studios in Hollywood, California. How you doing, Kylie?
Hi. It's our first week's progress report on the design, which started here for Staunch. Something more streamlined.
That Staunch looks pretty buff.
He's big, he's strong, and he steals the show. Bigger than our friend Lou Ferrigno. People
Which is our
look at
hero.
him and they say, what? He's bigger than the Incredible Hulk. He's got a hairy face, but he's so good looking.
Kylie Fox, our genius costume designer.
I think it's quantum. It's quantum. We're heading towards the finish line.
Yeah, look at Staunch back there. I'm really amazed. It's the first time I've seen this much of Staunch all put together. Wow, this is terrific.
Beautifully. Remember, we started with that,
Yeah,
went to that,
right?
and now we're here. Dave's big hand.
Oh, right, that's what his hands look like. Cool. It's Thursday, February 4th, and literally a week from today, Staunch and I are going to be putting on a free concert marching around the village of Vail with our hip-hop album to celebrate striving for national and world peace on President's Weekend. Ah, look at that! Many people ask, what's the rationale of a Bigfoot as the mascot of our movement? Think of it, Bigfoot of our country, like 80 or 90% of the population, all moderates. Also, we staunch moderates are in the paradigm shifting business, like from the most terrifying folklore characters on the planet to the coolest being on the planet. Not human, but Bigfoot. Or how we staunch moderates are really trying to paradigm shift our socio-political divides, anger, vitriol, and hate into a more moderate, loving, peaceful society. A tall order? Absolutely, but we have to try. In early February 2021, my partners flew into headquarters here in Aspen to receive the costume with me, suit up our actor, do tests, and to celebrate Staunch's birthday. I want our audience to see Staunch's business card.
Staunch. I can't talk, but I'm literate.
Hey there, welcome to this next edition of Staunch. It happens to be Staunch's birthday. A big birthday, baby Staunch. Meet his costume designer, Kylie Fox. And boy, has she done a good job putting this supermodel of Bigfoot's costume together. And here we go, we're dressing Staunch. Are you ready for him? Where'd you go, girl? Staunch has come to fruition, and here he is! Bigfoot for the Staunch Moderates Intellectual Movement. Hey folks, here we are, still in the episode of Staunch on Staunch's birthday, February 8th, 2021, and this is my co-host, Shaq. Some of us like to call him Shaq. In fact, when I call him Shaq, I feel like Jack.
Oh, stop it, Greg.
Hey, man, what do you say, Shaq?
Man, we've been waiting for this day for a long time, and Staunch is finally here.
Here we are. High five, brother.
There it is.
Staunch is here. Yeah,
Look at this double high five.
Wants to know why all the hatred? Why the divide? Why can't we all share American pride? Why all the riots? We don't have peace. And they look at me and call me a beast.
Here we are at the Staunch Moderates headquarters in the undisclosed secret locations in Colorado. This is where it all goes down.
We're rehearsing for our big event tomorrow, man, and boy, there's a million things going in the air. And it's the Staunch Moderates hip-hop album to celebrate peace. Peace! Peace!
P-E-A-C-E.
President's Day weekend, we're putting on a marching free concert for peace in Vail, Colorado, and we are guerrilla Bigfoot marketing all the way. Boom!
I want to know why all the hatred? Why the divide? Why can't we all share American pride? Why all the riots? We don't have peace. And they look at me and call me a beast. I say,
ladies and gentlemen, we have arrived at the arena, Vail, Colorado. Welcome to Vail.
Fantasy or reality, it is what it is, possibilities.
We then performed the first two marches on President's Weekend in Vail and Lions Head, Colorado to debut our album, The First Realm.
World look like in 10 years if everything was the way that you see fit.
In early March, we performed another parade in Breckenridge.
Fantasy or reality, it is what it is, possibilities.
We then continued developing him as our alter ego. Staunch is supposed to be like the coolest being on the planet, and it's kind of funny because he's not even human. He's Bigfoot Staunch, and then later became DJ Staunch, the name of our band that made the First Realm album.
You got Bigfoot and you got Loch Ness, but there's a brand new creature that inhabits the West. He's big, he's strong, and he steals the show. Bigger than our friend Lou Ferrigno. People look at him and they say, what? He's bigger than the Incredible Hulk. He's got a hairy face, but he's so good looking. Politically correct and he's always cooking. He don't say much, but when he says something, he's got views and his views are pumping. And when he talks, you bet to listen, cause if you don't, you might come up missing. And if you meet him in a Rocky Mountain blizzard, you'll discover he is a wizard. The continental divide is his art. What's his name? His name is Staunch. Why the divide? Why can't we all share American pride? Why all the riots? We don't have peace. And they look at me and call me a beast. I say let's end the hate, come one, come all. Let's have love, peace, and football. Take it from me, I stay peaceful and quiet. I look real scary, I'm just the gentle giant. Finally, Israel, Palestine, y'all cease. All hostilities, let's have peace.
After 2 months of building out our website, writing our platform and manifesto, and in-person campaigning our concept in the community of Aspen, it was time to do our Trifecta Launch. Our website, social media campaigning at the primaries, and the commencement making of our documentary film. Ironically, Live Free or Die New Hampshire, a state that prides themselves in their politics and primary, was our Trifecta Launch state.
I mean, just think of it.
the primaries going on in New Hampshire and everybody worrying about what Democrat they're going to vote to beat Trump. And we come in here with these social media ads and we're introducing a whole nother intellectual movement, philosophy, political party option for the future staunch moderates. It's pretty exciting stuff. We use both Facebook and Twitter. Trust me, placing political ads on either platform isn't that easy because of having to pass their multiple levels of security protocol due to foreign meddling in our elections, yada yada yada. In our early on primary campaigns, we were able to sneak some of our targeted ads through on Twitter until their review departments caught us during our Super Tuesday campaigns are running ads at 6 state primaries. Halfway through our 4 days of campaigning those states, they shut us down from campaigning on their platform and banning us from running political ads altogether. In the end, their security protocols or qualifications were just too daunting for our grassroots intellectual movement to pass. Facebook security protocols were also laborious, but we were able to work through them over the first 2 primary, New Hampshire and Nevada. Perhaps it helped that they knew us from having accounts with them from over the years and us having placed targeted ads on their platforms before. To them, we're obviously not a Russian troll farm. Thank goodness for Facebook, because without them, we would be out of business.
My role currently is social media director and media personality. So I run all Staunch Moderate social media accounts. I kind of go through social media plans, which means I come up with ideas on how we can promote Staunch Moderates, grow a larger following.
Following the New Hampshire primary launch and Nevada primary, we were able to successfully host many forums in Colorado, California, Hawaii, Alaska, Texas, and Virginia for the Super Tuesday primaries.
Staunch Moderates forums are really cool not only to participate in, but just to take a read. I mean, there are people that are truly passionate about politics. And I mean, that's an understatement. It's a lot of curse words, a lot of animations, a lot of GIFs.
We use this opportunity to host forums on moderate philosophical concepts drawn from our platform, speaking to such topics as the divisiveness in our society today, how our movement is all about bringing people back together again, and finding equitable solutions wherever possible, and how political moderates are arguably the biggest body of voters. Having already had such a successful sign-up rate campaigning in person in Aspen, we wanted to see what kind of traction this language of ours would have with the running targeted social media forums at the primaries to grow our brand, Staunch Moderates. It's also interesting to note how the candidates were doing in this early point in the primaries. Pete Buttigieg, a very well-educated gay white man and veteran, was leading after the first Iowa primary, but then Bernie Sanders won New Hampshire, Nevada, taking the overall lead and hence giving the inspiration for our first ad forum on current societal affairs, focusing on Bernie Sanders' discussion about his socialism in the United States. We quickly learned that our ad forums brought about lively commentary on the topics we posed. We were very pleased with the social engagement we generated, especially from our New Hampshire primary forums. Many understood the need for moderation, sharing comments like, "The country is split in half. We need to listen to each other's concerns. Our government was created with compromise. And it's not enough to listen. To stop the division, people need to push back on those who are creating the division." But some disagreed wholeheartedly with the idea of political moderation, responding with, "Being a centrist in America's political climate is siding with the far right and wealthy oppressor class, and centrism is a privileged and morally repugnant stance." One last comment from our forums that really sums up what our movement is all about. We have to respectfully learn to disagree. Stop the hating. Just because someone disagrees with you does not make them a bad person. They just have a different opinion. It's really that simple. Let's embrace each other and not hate. We got to do Twitter and Facebook for 6 markets. How many hours you and me on the phone placing those ads?
We should reserve 3 days for sure.
We've got 6 times 4, 24 posts each on Twitter and Facebook that we're trying to make right now. And Meshach's ripping through it.
Does that look good to you?
Yep, that's fine. We've got a formula that works for us and we can move through these things. Tweet it. Tweet it, brother.
Tweet it. Here we go. Boom, tweet it.
Follow us and join the forum. Ha! 23 forums and 16 primaries. Super Tuesday, North Dakota and Washington on March 9th. It's St. Patrick's Day, and it's the primaries for Florida and Illinois. April 7th, and it was the Wisconsin primary. April 28th was the Ohio primary. In the beginning of June, the Maryland primary. The New York primary, June 23rd. Specific vital societal issues, global warming and the polarized divide. The coronavirus, asking how will it affect the 2020 election and everyday life. Bernie Sanders and his Socialism for the USA. Amendment 2 versus gun control. Right for life versus free choice on abortion, the politics of COVID-19, asking whether Trump was doing enough to fight the pandemic politics, and asked whether it was time to reopen at that point. Who Joe Biden's best choice, defunding the police, Black Lives Matter in the presidential election, the science and politics of social distancing. Our coronavirus forum was surprisingly a bit of a dud, but it would pick up as we ran it later in later primaries when the pandemic started to take center stage. Coronavirus came around and knocked the feet right out from under us. It did it to everybody, stole our stage, stole everybody's stage. So Bo and I had this meeting scheduled, but because I have had contact with perhaps high-risk people, and that Aspen is the #1 COVID-19 place in Colorado. Yikes!
Not good.
We were even going to have a big town meeting in Aspen, but we had to shut that down. It got canceled because the pandemic came around. That was going to be in late March. So shut that down. And from then on, like everybody else, it's all virtual.
It's amazing to talk with high-powered people throughout the country. They're talking to me from their kitchen or their den or their garage, and with their Ferraris instead of being in their offices, because they're all home by order of law.
Just like we're doing right now, absent the Ferraris, maybe.
There you go.
Or do you have a Ferrari at your house, Ed?
I'm a Jaguar man.
The coronavirus was really taking hold of our country. Before, all wanted to talk about the divide. Now it was what divide? Everybody just wanted to stay alive. The Wisconsin primary, we also launched our Wayne's World meets Howard Stern political talk show named Staunch. On the Staunch Moderates Media Network, a news network postured in the middle between CNN and Fox without all the punditry, where you, the public, are the pundits. Our talk show named Staunch came from the fact that I was working in the studio in front of camera talking politics. We were doing a blog talking about our movement and 2020 current events, and it just kind of evolved into a talk show, and it kind of hit me as a Wayne's World meets Howard Stern political talk show named Staunch on the Staunch Moderates Media Network. And I say Wayne's World because it's coming out of my studio. The level of intellect of Howard Stern, that's not me, but we're talking politics, so it was a Howard Stern Wayne's World. Anyway, there we have it. How you doing, Lou?
Wonderful. How are you today?
I'm doing well. It's such an honor to have you on the show. Have you ever thought of running for office?
You know something? I'd much rather stick with the Sheriff Department because I'm not a political person. I know politics is very tough today, and it's not my cup of tea. To me, I'd much rather just be a first responder helping people than be in the political field. That's my opinion.
You know, I was never really much into politics myself, and then I got involved with creating this movement, the Staunch Moderates, and now I'm finding myself in politics. I never would have expected. Now, I'd like to talk about your social media video that you sent us. It seems like the perspective or philosophy is very much in alignment with our Staunch Moderates movement, to set our differences aside, find common middle ground, and let's affect vital public policy.
Yeah, there's so much argument fighting today, people, the whole thing about this lockdown, this virus, we all have to get together. Me, I say World War III. We have to beat it because it's just all over the world. Well, the thing is, because what we're going through now is a pandemic, that's why I say in that video, the fact that in the political field, everyone's fighting, everyone is blaming each other, attacking each other, because I'm just tired of all the BS, because I really feel that everybody has to work together, because I classify this as like World War III. We're talking about the entire world, and then, between politics, like a tug of war going back and forth. We all have to support each other regardless of which side of the fence you're on.
It's interesting because there was so much divisiveness in our society coming up to the pandemic, and the pandemic has actually lessened the divisiveness in society significantly because people have had to come together to fight the pandemic. The New York primary, June 23rd, was next in our final 2020 primary. We ran 3 forums: defunding the police, Black Lives Matter in the presidential election, and 3, the science and politics of social distancing. The Black Lives Matter forum was our record-breaking forum to date for engagement. Part of our New York campaigning included video-targeted ads we put out in addition to our forums. And another presented an interview with former WWE big-time wrestling rap star and Brooklyn native Casanova Ace.
I am dead hot in the middle of Times Square. I am here because the primaries are coming up, and us Staunch Moderates, we all over it. So I got my big ass boots on the ground right here now.
Right on, right on. You are a really talented cat. CV-19 and the George Floyd rap. What's that sound like?
Yes, everybody, we're on the scene, but we're dealing with the virus, COVID-19, hard as a brick, and now it's got a lot of people sick. People all coughing, and people sneeze, and people grab their chest saying, I can't breathe. And on top of that, we are not quiet, protesting, and there are riots. There are riots because there is a void. The police killed this man, George Floyd. They killed George Floyd. They had him in check, but the cop took his knee and put it in his neck. He put it in his neck. The people cried. It didn't let up till the poor man died. And now people, they ready to riot. They ready to riot. They are not quiet. But I'll say this. That's not what's up. You don't make change by tearing stuff up.
We staunch moderates in our movement. We pride ourselves in monitoring the divide, measuring it. And actually, when coronavirus came around and set in, we felt that the divide was contracting because, it's historically, it's human nature that we come together when there's an outside threat. And that's what happened. Then the George Floyd murder happened, and boom, the divide exploded. Civil strife, rioting, fires all over the country.
You can't tell us how to fix it because you got a lot of people on CNN, MSNBC, and everybody wants to put a Band-Aid on a bullet wound. And of course, that's not going to work. It didn't work during the Civil Rights Movement. It certainly didn't work for Rodney King, and it's not going to work now. I can't tell you how to fix it, but I can tell you how you don't fix it. You do not bring backs to a gunfight. You do not bring disorder to loyal order, and civil disturbance and civil disobedience and civil unrest. Never had a threesome and brought civil rights. It does not work that way. We all need to take a hard look at ourselves. Now let's take the George Floyd situation for an example. That man was senselessly, brutally, unfairly, and didn't make no sense whatsoever murdered by the police, the very people who are charged to protect and serve us all. Black, white, Swedish, Mexican, Martian, or Venusian if they're here. Okay, that's what their job is.
Yeah.
But instead, they take an instance like this, and they act worse than the gangbangers and the criminals and the buggers and serial killers. Okay? Now, this rightfully so got everybody upset. Now, when black folks get upset, all right, we protest and we march, which is okay, it's all right. I'm not marching because personally, and I'm gonna put some flack for this, I don't see the point in marching. We've been marching for 100 years, and we still ain't got where we need to go. We just marching. But okay, all right, let's march, let's protest, and all that's fine. But okay, now, then the next level is we go out and we riot and loot and steal and pillage, and we treat the world like the Purge movie. Now, what are we accomplishing by doing that? I don't know, and you don't either. If you think you know, you tell me, I'll wait.
I do know something. You know what you guys, what the Black Lives Matter accomplished by that? I hate to say it, but they caught everybody's attention with the rioting.
Okay, you caught, yeah, all right, but you caught negative attention.
Negative attention, but I mean, they got the country stirred up and stuff's going down because of it.
Take me personally, get into it. I can say my opinions, and a lot of my opinions, in my opinion, and in the grand scheme of things, is the truth.
We all know that, Cass.
If I don't agree totally with the black agenda, then there are black people that are going to come after me. But see, I don't take it personally because they're not coming after me. They're coming after themselves. But you got to understand one thing. No matter what you do, if you're on the left, the right's going to come after you. If you're on the right, the left's going to come after you. But if you're moderate and you call yourself in the middle, which you really are, the left or the right is always going to see you taking sides about something as soon as you open your mouth.
You know, the biggest criticism that we receive as staunch moderates is when we won't back somebody's agenda or initiative. The most popular here in 2020 is that being Trump or Biden for president. We're not in the business of that. So when we won't back somebody's initiative, they all out attack us, say we're not moderates at all, extremists, Russian troll farms, disinformation outlet, the list goes on and on. In fact, it's a hobby of mine, collecting the attacks. It amuses me greatly. I did take a forum or two personally, and the most specific one is Marvin and the DC Aliens during the Maryland primary. And they got the name DC Aliens because of their alien level of intellect and lightning speed of moving around the internet. I did take it personally because they all out attacked us because we didn't back their initiative as usual, but it was a good thing. It made me dig down deep and fortify who and what we staunch moderates are and what we're all about, and that's to address the divide and strive for world peace.
I counter that criticism of moderates being wishy-washy and not really do anything by first understanding to myself that without a conversation, nothing can happen. Counteract people that say stuff like that, I would first ask the question, what are you doing? It's an understanding that you have certain viewpoints and you believe other people should follow the way you see. And I feel like that's for any political view. You know, you want people to understand something the way that you do. So I think for all those people that say, yeah, moderates aren't doing anything, it's all about having the conversation, and you'll come to realize we're pretty similar to whatever viewpoint you're looking from. There's always some sort of common ground. All you have to do to find that common ground is have a conversation.
Maggie and I are old friends. We met skiing on Aspen Mountain in the gondola. She's an Olympian, a bump skier. She's a master trainer, mind, body, spirit.
Keynote speaking to me is, it kind of replaced all the energy that you have at the top of a race course, you know? So it's cool.
Yeah, I hear you. I get that way when I'm in front of camera. That'd be you.
Yeah, I'm sure you do.
Yeah.
It's like 3, 2, 1, go, right?
I hit her up with the movement. She looked over the movement and said, I'm all about everything staunch moderates. It's a good thing. Funny enough, our board of directors is all guys, and it's been all guys, and we knew we needed a female. We were searching one out, and then we're so happy to have found you, an Olympian nonetheless.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm excited to be on board, literally, right? On the board. No, I'm super excited about it. I mean, when you first let me know about what you're doing, and you know, I read the manifesto, I was like, sweet, I could totally, you know, get on board with that. And what you're putting out there, I think it's great.
As opposed to cutting each other's throats?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm totally, committed to what you're doing and what you're putting out there. I think it's great.
Came along, coronavirus pandemic. But the one thing the coronavirus also did is it seemed to reduce the divide significantly because it would bring people together because of an outside threat, similar to how Hollywood movies does it, rather that be an asteroid tumbling towards Earth, aliens coming to get us, or a massive storm, but ours is coronavirus. That's our outside threat. And then came along the May 25th George Floyd murder, which is a horrific thing, we all agree.
That's where we all agree, right? I always recall this speech of Robert Kennedy on the night of Martin Luther King's assassination. He was making a presidential speech. He was supposed to do a stump speech that night. And of course he had to change his speech. And he's such a brilliant man because, he really touched on people's, right to their feelings. He said you may be angry, you may want to seek revenge, and so that right there was validating these people's feelings. And he said, he had his own feelings, right? When his brother was shot in 1963. But he really goes on to ask the crowd, what is it that we need in the United States? We don't need more division. We don't need more violence. We don't need more loss of life, right? We need wisdom and passion and understanding. And it was the one city throughout the country that didn't riot that night. And I always point to that speech because I think, it was a powerful statement.
Maggie, I'd like to share something that you wrote me from Maggie Connor. For all of us to move forward as one country, we must inspire peace within our hearts, our families, our communities. We can disagree even passionately, yet for us to allow any conflict or opposing values to de-evolve into acts of violence is contrary to what I believe we can all agree on. That is that every soul yearns for acceptance, love, and peace. Maggie Connor. So, yeah, that's a powerful statement coming from you, Miss Connor.
Thank you. Yeah. That's what I believe. I mean, that just flows out when I write.
Yeah.
What do we say? All you need is love?
Yeah, right. The Beatles coined it back in the 60s when the civil rights was going on, right?
Back to Staunch Moderates, bringing a forum where we can listen to all voices and have these conversations, really searching our hearts, because we're an amazing country. Again, back to Robert Kennedy, he said, we've had tough times in the past and we'll have tough times in the future. We're still a really young country, and we can always be better. That's the thing, as an Olympic athlete, right? I mean, I could always do something to improve. I could always do something to make myself better.
I just love the game of football, and the reason Staunch Moderates, being in politics, is like football. Football is a brutal game, well, so is politics. We drafted a talented team consisting of myself as head coach and owner, our supervising producer and consultant, Rob, as our offensive coordinator and quarterback, notable press secretary, Ed Losey, as our fullback, our social media director, Meshach, as wide receiver, other wideout, partner in crime, Bo Persico, former Winter Olympian Maggie Connor as our field goal kicker, and Casanova Ace, WWE big-time wrestler, public speaker, and hip-hop freeform artist as our defensive tackle. I saw each primary as a game, the conventions as the playoffs, the debates as the conference championships, and the 2020 election and its outcome as the Super Bowl of American politics. Shortly after our primary campaigning, it felt like we were in a key final game to make the playoffs, with Biden, Trump, COVID-19, George Floyd, and the riots all having won their divisions. It was third quarter, and we were down 3 touchdowns. I was darn close to shutting the whole movement down because of expenses and against all odds likeliness for success.
I'll tell you what, it's a manic depressive ride, up and down, up and down. The highs being the creative and the work that we are doing, we think is just fabulous. And then the lows, the slow development of membership growth, and nobody's listening. And I do find that frustrating. We almost have shut it down a time or two. We just keep on keeping on, and things seem to be getting better and moving forward. So onward and upward. Mishak, how's it going, dude? Long time no talk to.
Yeah, it's been forever, man. I'm doing great over here.
Good to be back at it. The Staunch Moderates, we're alive again after a 6-week hiatus. How about our Kamala Harris VP choice forum, man? We're on fire.
Yeah, it was a great start and it's completely surpassed any statistics that I thought we would get.
Hey,
it set Staunch Moderates records.
5 times greater than our second best forum result, which was Black Lives Matter during the New York primary, by the way. That's after 23 forums at 16 different primaries. And now we did this VP choice for Kamala Harris at the DNC convention, running at the same time, and boom! And we got 3,700 likes, 2,700 comments, and over 200 shares, man. It's like, woo-hoo! Buddy, our first poll. We're finally placing our first poll, ironically, between the DNC and GOP conventions. How about that for timing? And that poll is socialism or capitalism for the United States. I think it's going to be interesting to see how the poll does, Mishak. The results from said poll are 45% capitalism, 21% socialism, and 34% chose a hybrid version of the two. It's Saturday, August 22nd, and it's halftime between the DNC and GOP conventions. We Staunch Moderates are running a Trump-Republican forum for this week's GOP convention. We're also trying to run a poll, socialism or capitalism for the USA. What's your choice? But we're having publishing problems on Facebook again. However, they are our huge ally, and we'd be out of business without them. Pulling off the Harris Forum, a Trump Forum, and a Barry Goldwater interview this week is our 2020 convention strategy, and are all highly related to being able to establish some momentum for our movement.
Barry Goldwater Jr., who ran for Congress and won, and he likes us. His recent interview with us was really enlightening.
It's a real honor to have you on with me on the show, Staunch, here in the Staunch Moderates studio, Aspen, Colorado. You know, you and your family, you're a real American household name, you Goldwaters.
My family came originally across the Atlantic Ocean in 1840. They came to Arizona in 1850 and settled in Prescott, Arizona. The father had several sons. One of the sons became mayor of Prescott for 21 years.
Huh.
And of course, my father was in the United States Senate. So the Goldwaters go back a long ways in Arizona. Senator Goldwater was one who jump-started conservatism back in the 1960s. And so I happen to believe in it, and I still believe in it today. I think limited government is much preferable. We were founded as getting away from oligarchies and the kings. We wanted representative government. Our Constitution set that up. And that Constitution is just as good today. And what it says, what it stands for is freedom.
Yes.
And more Americans need and want freedom. If you want to let people free, they're going to solve the problems through the market system. They're going to create jobs. No, I think freedom is something I kind of like, and I think most people do also. When I served in Congress, to 1984, I was a Republican in the minority. And we got together quite often with the Democrats because of leadership. That to me is what's missing today is leadership. And the Speaker of the House, the President of the Senate, they're just not strong leaders. When I was in Congress, the Speaker was a fellow by the name of Tip O'Neill.
Oh, I know the name Tip O'Neill.
He was a fiercely partisan Democrat. Everybody loved Tip O'Neill, and he recognized that if you didn't give the minority, which I was in, a voice, democracy would slow down and wouldn't be representative of the people. So he allowed the Republicans to participate. And so as a consequence, we got along well with the Democrats. I appreciate what you're trying to do, Gregory, because today we're so polarized, and we need to be able to talk to each other without getting into a fight. I know my sister and I get into it all the time, but we always end it by giving each other a hug.
That's awesome.
You know, you got to be able to discuss issues and not get personal about it.
Is she conservative also?
No, she's a liberal.
Huh.
Yeah, I'm trying to switch her back. We may not like what's going on today, but we've survived a lot of challenges in the history of this country, and we will survive this.
Huh, what a great message to hear.
I wish your organization success. I think you bring an important part of the conversation together.
Hopefully we can have a positive influence on things.
You will.
A high point in the movement is definitely having these, not just celebrities, but politicians, political figures come on the show. It's always nice hearing someone like Barry Goldwater Jr.
We're going after some other big talent, like Bill Maher is showing some interest. His people are looking at us to go on the show. He's the kind of person we want. Bill Maher is a moderate. If we could get him to do our show. If you're listening, Bill, we want you to come on and get your message across.
His class, comedic show business style, and societal, political, spiritual, not religious views. This intergalactic intelligence is the brightest star, Bill Maher.
Political, his show is real time. His humor is intelligent, but yet cool. I love it when he does new rules.
We've just been running a forum and poll, and that is capitalism or socialism. What's your choice? The results from said poll are 45% capitalism, 21% socialism, and 34% chose a hybrid version of the two.
We are a capitalist country. We're going to remain capitalist. The question really has to do with to what extent are we going to use some of the things that we have developed, like unemployment compensation and healthcare coverage and ways that we protect people in disaster so that the society as a whole benefits and so that we can prepare citizens who can carry on a successful capitalist country that is regulated capitalism that doesn't just exploit workers but that actually rewards efforts.
And what you're talking about, Bo, significantly is going back to our poll, the hybrid aspect. It's the convergence of the two systems coming together. It's quite fitting for the Staunch Moderates movement because we're talking about setting our differences aside, finding common middle ground to affect vital public policy in the fairest way humanly possible. And that's what we're working at doing with this movement.
Yeah, most people in this country, I think, see themselves as part of a capitalist system. They just assume that certain things like unemployment compensation, being able to get Social Security is part of the capitalist system now. That's how they...
Or they're arguing it should be.
We do have Social Security.
we do. It is part of the system. It is this balance between the two. What makes up our society? I saw this quote come in on my Facebook feed, and its sentiments works for me and perhaps it will for many. I'm tired of COVID-19. I'm tired of blacks versus whites. I'm tired of Democrats versus Republicans. I'm really tired of the media. I'm really tired of wearing a mask debate. I'm tired of no one being allowed to think what they want and feel how they do without offending someone. I'm tired of the people who are out there jumping on the bandwagon just to spread hatred. and starting riots, looting, and destroying others' properties. I'm tired of blaming the world for sins of a few. We're one race, the human race. You want to support Trump? You do it. It's your choice. You want to support Biden? You do it. It's your choice. You want to believe in God? You do it. It's your choice. You want to believe in magical creatures that fly around and sprinkle fairy dust to make life better? Awesome. You do it. But how about being mature enough to be able to deal with the fact that everybody doesn't have the same mindset as you do? Having our own mindsets is what makes us individuals and beautiful. If you can't handle that, oh well. I don't have to agree with everything you believe in, and you don't have to agree with me. It's your choice. It's my choice. Just be a decent human being. You don't have to like this post or agree. It's your choice.
Of course, the mission is peace.
October 10th, 2020. What impressed me about the debates is coming out of the Trump-Biden debate was the Kamala Harris-Mike Pence debate. I really enjoyed seeing the two of them debate, and it was interesting to get to know Kamala Harris from a presidential platform. Joe Biden is probably the most moderate of all the candidates that ran for the Democratic ticket. Wouldn't you kind of agree?
I think so.
And so the most moderate of the 17 on the ticket picked as his vice president candidate the most liberal. That is pretty wild. And there she was in the Harris versus Pence debate. She's a good debater.
Not a lot of women, in terms of African American women, have been in her position in life, and I think she takes that very serious. And I think she really puts that in her debating skills, because I mean, how many times will you be on that stage?
And she's well equipped to embody that role.
Exactly.
Yeah. She's in good position to very well become the president of the United States. To be honest with you, for me being a moderate conservative and her being the most liberal of the Senate and the candidates that ran for president in 2020, she scares me. I'm a moderate conservative. She's way over there. I'm impressed by her, but Kamala, you scare me. And what can I say? It's Monday, October 26th, 1 week before the 2020 presidential election. How's it going, Shaq?
Everything's going great, man. How's everything with you?
It's rocking, man. It's a big day of business here because you informed me that today is the last day that we can place ads for the 2020 election, for the election week. I am stoked for the campaign that we are putting out. It's amazing that we pulled off what we did with our Staunch Moderates polls at the elections. The Senate and Congress is holding hearings on Twitter and Facebook, and they're editing the distribution of content, and we got our Staunch Moderates polls at the 2020 election approved yesterday. It's just unfathomable. Hello, my name is Greg Simmons. Welcome to our Staunch Moderates Election Day show. It's Tuesday, November 3rd, 2020, the Super Bowl of American politics. Trump or Biden?
It's really all about who's going to control, who's going to make the rules, who's going to make the laws. That's what this fight is all about. It probably started back with Jefferson and Hamilton.
Most people have stereotyped me as a Republican. I'm not. I'm an independent. That's why Staunch Moderates, I was attracted to that right off.
We Staunch Moderates, we're all about addressing the divide and striving for world peace, underlining that word peace.
We've got to find common ground and common purpose, because unless we do that, we're going to tear ourselves apart.
All over the world, people need to work together to support, be more positive.
We all want peace in our lives.
We want peace in our neighborhoods. We want peace for our families. How do we create that? How do we build that? And it's conversations like this.
We got an awesome tribute, Congressman Goldwater, to you and your family coming from Casanova Ace.
He's the congressman. This man was law and order. So tell all your sons and tell all your daughters that NAACP supporter. And that's why I love Mr. Barry Goldwater.
All right. Woo. Congressman Goldwater, we are running a poll here, and I say to you, pick a day, any day. What day are we going to get official election results?
Official?
Official.
And who is the official?
You're the congressman. You tell me.
I just don't see Trump conceding. I don't see it happening.
I don't see it either.
You know, nobody likes a sore loser, right? I want it. I don't care about the other 49% of the country. Like, we have to get back to being the United States, right? Not the United States.
And I love what you stand for and what you're trying to do. And that is to bring both sides together. We need that in this country.
To me, that's what really this movement is about, right? Is being respectful and being kind, even if we don't agree.
I thought that this was a historical occasion, that someday this will be looked at in history lessons. What's interesting about us is that we're all different backgrounds. We've all had parents that had their politics, and a lot of us rebel against that. I remember I was rebelling because my grandfather was in the Eisenhower cabinet, and he was Assistant Secretary of the Treasury and head of all customs, hardcore Republican. I was just like him until I went to college and transferred to NYU in New York, and boom, professors turned us completely around to show us how horrible the Vietnam War is for the country. Well, violent arguments with my family over this. But I went back to more of a conservative roots. I'm an independent, and I've been attacked for being that. And even when now I'm telling people and I'm in Staunch Moderates, it's like, you got to commit one way or the other. You can't be wishy-washy. They're getting the lectures, right? They don't get it. They don't get it that Staunch Moderates, we're both looking to work with each other. Declaration of Independence and in the two-party system, which really didn't kick in until after Lincoln, was set up for checks and balances, to check each other, not this one to take over. And that's where we are right now. The country's never been in a situation like this. We could go either way. Republican dictatorship type republicanism, or just the opposite with the Democrats, open borders, a welfare state, the hatred even now between the two parties. Some people think we're this close to a civil war again.
Start negotiating and talking, for Christ's sake. You're never going to get any place if you don't talk. We all came together on 9/11. We came together in World War II, and I grew up in that war. And we came together, and that's the only way we won that war.
We're going to keep this movement moving forward because basically it's a good cause, and all we want is you all to get along.
We have this concept of SMN, Staunch Moderate Network. I feel like that is what Staunch is going to become, a media network, an understanding and a place where people can have a conversation. And that media network may become a political party. I don't believe what we have right now would become a political party, but I definitely believe what we can become.
Where I see it is our dynamic manifesto. That's basically a snapshot of how we see our political situation and fitting into the world and forecast on it on a year-by-year basis.
There have certainly been ways that both the Democratic and Republican parties have disappointed people, have come up short in terms of what they represent and what gets accomplished, so that it's very interesting to me to keep open the possibility that maybe there is a third way. I think that is an effort that I would find noble.
Staunch Moderates is a political movement at this point. We're not a political party yet. Gregory told me that. He used the word yet. So I'm going, what? And he said, eventually, we're going to be very instrumental. That's why I want you to run for Senate, right? And then I started to laugh. He goes, what's so funny? You know, and I said, oh. Then I realized he's serious. Listen, there are stranger things that have happened.
The Staunch Moderates is not asking me to be negative or to down this one or that one. It's asking me to give messages of peace, harmony, unity, of love. That's a message that I will always give. Because when I wake up, that's who I am.
Those third parties' influences seem to be centered mostly around putting politicians in office. You know, if that happens for us, great. But that's not what we're all about coming from me. We are all about having the conversation of addressing the divide, setting our differences aside, finding common middle ground, yada, yada, yada. You've heard it from me before. We're all about that. People are like, gosh, you've gotten into politics, Greg? And you know, I don't see it so much. I'm not all about the politics. I'm all about the philosophy. And that philosophy is all about us getting along. That's why I'm here talking right now.
I'll stay involved as long as I'm here. I don't know how the hell long that is. I'm going to be I was born in 31 and I'll be 92 in February. So I only got a couple more months and I'm 92. So hell, I don't know how long I'm going to be here. But as long as I'm here, I'm Staunch Moderates.